Hello, everyone. Welcome to EVTN News. Today is the USCCB preview edition. Why is this now? So I want to. This is a different day than what everyone's accustomed. USCCB General Assembly meeting for November. Um, they're starting that tomorrow on Monday. So this is the first time in a year where they're having a public meeting. Last June is when they typically have it, but they had a secret, or well, I guess we shouldn't call it secret, a private meeting, and who knows what they talked about. No information came out of that. So, um, but the first thing I want to start off is a correction. Last week, I talked about the synodal experts. I talked about Rich Cole, and I said that he is he kind of hangs around the USCCB. That's not true. He has been a USCCB employee for, I think, just a few years. And I actually confused him with someone named John Carr. Now, Richard Cole is he's a USCCB who is an attorney, and he has a degree from Harvard. And so apparently that qualifies him for this synodal process. Um, I was confusing him with John Carr, who resigned from the USCCB after he came under fire for heretical stuff like at least 10 years ago. Lepanto Institute was on this guy's case, and now it's out in the open. You can do this stuff and be and there's no consequences for it. The stuff that John Carr was accused of doing, which is like promoting abortion and stuff like that. He denied it, but now you can do that out in the open. So that's pathetic. At the end, I'll talk a little bit about USCCB. We're going to go through the main stories today. I want to start out with Vigano's statement. He said he was responding to a letter from a nun. He said, Clearly, the visible church, to which the world gives the name of Catholic Church and of which it considers Bergoglio as Pope, is no longer church, at least with regards to those cardinals, bishops, and priests who convincingly profess another doctrine and declare themselves to be adherents of the conciliar church in antithesis to the preconciliar church. So there you go. That's from Vigano. He says that the Catholic Church is different than what other people seem to intend, especially the cardinals, bishops, and priests who adhere to this conciliar church. So, I mean, not anything that you guys, not anything that you would disagree with. Okay, don't worry about declining vocations. Pope Francis warned that consecrated life today should not be discouraged by lack of vocations or by aging. So there you go. I'm sure you're very convinced, and you'll be worry free. The Pope departing from the manuscript, he talked to Claretian nuns. Um, he praised the Claretians for having humanized so much of the consecrated life and for their desire to implement what their founder valued so much. What, declining vocations? I'm sure the founder didn't value that. But they humanized so much of consecrated life. And I think that would be why they are experiencing a lack of vocations. But I'm just a guy on YouTube. Random guy on YouTube. Okay, the U.S. Bishops' Conference will not vote this week on the prospect of merging the Steubenville, Ohio Diocese, which is with its neighboring Columbus Diocese, according to a letter sent Monday by Steubenville Bishop Jeff Monforton. He said, I have requested the USCCB to remove discussion of a merger and subsequent vote from the plenary session's agenda at this time. There will be no vote next week. Further discussion regarding the diocese's future will be conducted at the diocesan level, which means He's under investigation, and that ends up before we'll see how that ends up before moving on. It may be a new bishop who takes up the issue, but as for now, it's not happening. And I think that this diocese has not been merged. However, it's certainly something that could come up in conversations for other dioceses in the future, in the near future, actually. Okay, retired French cardinal admitted Monday to abusing a 14-year-old girl 35 years ago. In a November 7th statement, Cardinal Jean-Pierre Ricard announced he was withdrawing from his functions and would cooperate with both secular and ecclesiastical justice systems. Ricard was president of the French Bishops' Conference from 2001 to 2007 and is a member of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of Faith, which oversees abuse investigations according to his Vatican biography. The 78-year-old cardinal served as Archbishop of Bordeaux, southwestern France from 2001 to 2019, when he stepped down at the age of 75, implying publicly that he was stepping down for health reasons, which was false. He was stepping down because he did something ridiculous and illegal. It doesn't say the details of the abuse, but it happened 35 years ago. This guy is 78 years old. Let's do the math really quick. 43 years old when this happened, approximately. 43 years old to a 14-year-old girl. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Embarrassing. This is sick. And this is the Francis Church. Moving on to another sicko. Cardinal Tobin of Newark, New Jersey, told J.D. Flynn, editor-in-chief of PillarCatholic.com, in June 2019 that this is June 2019 that a New Jersey Attorney General prevented him from releasing archdiocesan records on Cardinal McCarrick and his finances, and that the investigation had not been concluded at the time. So that was then. Flynn revealed on Twitter on November 8th, just a few days ago, he revealed this. He wonders what the Attorney General's office is still up to and insists he doesn't know whether Tobin or the Attorney General say the truth. An ongoing investigation wouldn't prevent Tobin from releasing anything. I wonder why he's not releasing anything. If he has nothing to hide, it could be in the best interest of really the Catholic Church to release information. But if he does have something to hide, is that why he is in McCarrick's former archdiocese? I think you can figure that out for yourself. All right, in Switzerland, Father Heinz Angerm, a retired priest of the Swiss Diocese of St. Gallen, shocker, claimed in an interview that bishops in Switzerland knowingly consecrated and tolerated LMNOP men in the clergy. Angerm retired in Swiss Catholic news outlet, cath.ch. He said that he came out as an active LMNOP when he was 45 years old. When Angerm told his bishop, Ivo Führer, he lived in LMNOP relationship, Führer was content and allegedly said, "Don't keep this a secret. I'd rather know who my LMNOP priests are and who they are with than not know what they're doing." And he left him in ministry. The only condition, Angerm said, was that my partner's name could not be on the front door while I was a priest. Those were the rules of the game. Bishop Führer, who died in July this year, was the initiator and host of the infamous St. Gallen Mafia, a group of bishops who promoted the LMNOP agenda and allegedly plotted a scheme to elect Bergoglio as pope. There you go. All right. Latin Mass at Corpus Christi Church in the Archdiocese of Metuchen, New Jersey will be canceled beginning November 27th. Emily C. Thierry, who attends the church for First Friday and First Saturday Latin Masses and who has petitioned for a reversal of the decision, told LifeSite News that she had first heard the news on November 4th during a sermon by the church's pastor. She was Also very surprised about the decision because she recalled that after the Latin Mass suppressing the Proprio Traditionis Custodes was issued over a year ago, Bishop James Cecchio said he was very solicitous and that the traditional Latin Mass continued to be offered in his diocese. So what changed? The reason I talk about this, it's not just to say, oh, this Latin Mass community shut down, this one shut down. It's to say, what changed between then and now that would make him change his mind? I think that's a very fair question. Same with Virginia, Arlington, Virginia. What changed to that Bishop Burbage had to crack down on the Latin Mass? These are fair questions to ask, and they don't have clear answers. I think I can guess. I could say they may have gotten some instruction from Rome. It's possible. Is there something else on the way? We'll see. Don't expect the topic of the Latin Mass to really come up at the USCCB meeting. I think that's something that's not going to be talked about at all. All right, another rotten bishop. Helmut Dicer, Bishop of the Diocese of Aachen and the head of the Forum for Sexuality and Partnership for the Synodal Way. Wow. They have a... Anyway, he said in an interview that sexual diversity is willed by God and does not violate the Creator's will, and that LMNOP lovemaking is not an aberration but a variant of human sexuality. Oh boy. That's his position. Wow. I don't know what to say about that. You guys probably have some ideas. Okay, moving on. Similar topic. Pope Francis received Father James Martin in a private audience at the Apostolic Palace inside the Vatican on Friday. Again, he met with them. Wow, what a surprise. He meets with them all the time. It's almost like it's almost like Pope Francis supports Father James Martin's heretical ideas. Martin tweeted, I was deeply grateful to meet with Pope Francis at the Apostolic Palace this morning for 45 minutes, during which we spoke about the joys and hopes, griefs and anxieties of LMNOP Catholics. It was a warm, inspiring, and encouraging meeting that I'll never forget. 45 minutes. Wow. It wasn't just a handshake. A lot of people shake Pope Francis' hand. That's it. Snap a photo. All right, 30 seconds. That's it. Nice to meet you. Move on. Nope. 45 minutes. But Pope Francis is completely in line with Catholic tradition. All right, during his November 4th speech in an ecumenical meeting in Bahrain, Pope Francis encouraged his audience to maintain the fine habit of making church buildings available to other communities, like non-Catholic communities, for the worship of the one Lord. Yeah, he said that. And no, we will not. Celebration of Latin Mass in parish churches. So traditional Catholics can't use the parish churches, but the heretics down the street can use the parish churches. It makes complete sense. But there's some problems on the horizon. Libero Malone, the former chairman and CEO of Deloitte Italy, a multinational auditing and consultancy firm, and the Vatican's first ever Auditor General, and also his assistant, Ferruccio Panico, an ex-chief auditor for the Italian manufacturer Indesit, are suing the Vatican for nearly $10 million in order to obtain proper reparations from suffered damages after they were forced to resign in 2017. Malone says Pope Francis went from demanding personal PowerPoint presentations regarding his findings to ignoring him when Vatican bureaucracy poisoned his ear, and finally to personally demanding that he be fired. Deloitte is a multinational corporation, international corporation. I don't know, whatever that is. They cover many countries. This isn't some random dude. This is a pretty well established business individual who's suing the Vatican. We'll see what happens with that, but that's what's going on there. Something to keep an eye on. I think for the Vatican, finances are going to be problematic going forward. Not that they weren't already, but this is just the latest in the scandals that are going on. And firing an auditor, that always kind of. I mean, I know that, certain auditors are maybe not the most responsible or don't do the best work, and then you kind of look for another one. But if you're getting a bad audit and you're firing an auditor, it's not a good look. All right, so now let's get into the USCCB preview. This meeting will take place November 14th through the 17th. The bishops are, and actually this is from the Diocese of Portland, Maine. It's not even from the USCCB's website. The bishops are anticipating a full agenda with plenary sessions, including a number of items such as the Synod of Bishops. I'll talk about some of these in a second. The ongoing war in Ukraine, the Bishops' Eucharistic Revival Initiative and National Congress, supporting women and families since the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision this summer, an update from the Migration Committee Chairman, a discussion of new catechumenate model of marriage preparation, World Youth Day 2023, the review and approval of 5 translations for liturgical rituals, the Journeying Together Intercultural Dialogue and Encounter Process, the consultation of the bishops on causes of beatification and canonization, and a vote on the USCCB's 2023 budget. All right, so a lot of those I'm actually probably going to skip over because I do USCCB coverage. I'll talk about that a little bit. I post videos. I watch a lot of the USCCB meeting video, the full videos. Every day there's probably 3 to 6 hours worth of videos, and so I watch those. Not the whole thing, but I watch a lot of it. I'm very tired even thinking about it right now. I'm exhausted thinking about what's upcoming this week for me, because I'm going to be posting a lot of those video clips. We'll see how many. So the one discussion is a Synod of Bishops. Go any direction, and so we'll see what happens with that. I think maybe some of the good or even neutral bishops could speak up on that. And then that's gonna take things into a really a direction that the Francis Church doesn't want it to go. That's possible. The Bishop's Eucharistic Revival Initiative, that's going to be discussed. It may be mentioned, it may be discussed a little bit more in depth. That is going to be, it's going to cost $24 million for this Eucharistic Congress. And I think revival, we need to do more social justice activities, which completely defeats the purpose of the Eucharistic Revival in the first place. But they'll spend $24 million on it. Where will they get the money? Well, they may be taxing each diocese. That might be that. Or it might be the immigration money they get from the government. I don't know. But they're going to be spending that money, $24 million. New model for marriage preparation is like the plan to take a year for marriage preparation. Which, let's make marriage prep even longer. That's a great idea. Not really. Let's just talk about the doctrines of the faith. No, that's not going to happen. Journeying together, intercultural dialogue and encounter process. Pathetic. So a lot of that, hopefully I can skim over a lot of that whenever I review. Otherwise it'll be a long few days. The bishops are expected to decide their approach in forming consciences for faithful citizenship and related materials to be executed over the following year. The agenda is expected to include presentations from Catholic Relief Services, Catholic Charities USA, and Catholic Legal Immigration Network, which is abbreviated as CLINIC. So, they're expected to decide their approach to forming consciences for faithful citizenship. That means voters' guides. So we're going to hear a lot about how, oh, is abortion a preeminent priority or is it not? I expect some back and forth on that, and I hope it gets tense. I hope so. I hope there's division, because I want to see it. Look, division, unity for the sake of unity is false. I mean, if you're like, oh, well, I don't agree with you, but I'm going to pretend I do to get along. Yeah, that's what a lot of bishops do. And that's why we complain about them all the time. So I think things could get pretty tense, and hopefully some of them get called out. I don't know. Does anyone have the guts besides Strickland? I'm not optimistic. They're going to have a presentation from Catholic Legal Immigration Network Clinic, which receives Soros money. I did the research on that. And I was surprised to see them speak at the USCCB meeting a few years ago, and even more surprised that a number of bishops are on their board of directors. Getting Soros money, so there you go. That's great. Not really. And then, finally, during the assembly, bishops will vote for the new conference president and vice president, as well as the chairman-elect of 6 conference committees. So they're going to elect a leadership team, and I will not post the video of this vote, but I will talk about it in the recap as part of next week's EVTN news. I'll give probably a short USCCB recap, because you will be able to see a lot of the video clips of what goes on, but I'll give you a little bit of the summary. So, all right, let's get to the comments. Okay. Okay, give me 1 second here. All right, thank you for commenting. At your TLM, does the congregation chant their part equally with the choir? Well, it's really the choir that generally chants. At one parish I attend, they chant along with the choir. At the other one, they don't. Usually the congregation doesn't know chant, so that's why the choir pretty much chants it. Women have a part to play and have the greatest power when imitating Mary, the most perfect disciple. Not singing at Mass is an Irish thing because they were persecuted by the Protestants. I go to Low Mass, so there's no chanting, but after is it Leonine prayers, we sing the Salve Regina. Yeah, so, I mean, it really depends. Low Mass, usually there's little to no singing, maybe a song at the end. I've been to a Mass with the nuns. I was at one of their Low Masses before they moved to Fairfield, and they were singing during the Low Mass. I think they were singing like during the introit, and then I don't know if they sang maybe during the offertory. It was very nice, actually. There's also the possibility that that organ can be played at Low Mass. It's really cool. I like the organ. High Mass is obviously my favorite, but well, not obviously, but I did tell you, so it is my favorite. Not obviously. If you know me, it would be. You would know that, but if you know me personally, but otherwise, I don't know how you know that, so it's not obvious. Anyway, Mass. Wouldn't it be funny if one of the bishops mentioned the Latin Mass? I just don't see it, though. None of them are standing up for it. Strickland, I think, has at least one FSSP parish. He has several Latin Masses in his diocese, and I think he has a traditional community of nuns in there as well. So it's kind of a refuge for the Latin Mass. And there's also several other bishops around the world that are friendly. Um, Today's epistle, for many walk, of whom I told you often, they are the enemies. Wait, for many walk, of whom I have told you often, that they are enemies of the cross of Christ. Okay. Um, so yeah, this is the USCCB preview episode, and with the elections, I'll probably be able to skip quite a bit. What are my expectations? All right, I'll lay out my expectations. We'll probably see a few bishops come in favor of pro-life. Some of them will strongly oppose it. Who knows what's going to be said at the synodality stuff? I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's crazy wacko out there. But then there's going to be some bishops that say, "Oh well, my people." I mean, the ones that participate in the synod, because very few of them actually did. They want to preserve the doctrines of the church, and so we'll see that. Most bishops are not outspoken in favor of the Catholic faith, and so you're going to get rotten bishops like McElroy, Stowe, Supich, just spewing their nonsense, and it's very discouraging. But then occasionally you'll get someone like Bishop Daley from Washington. What is it? Spokane, Washington. He's kind of he's kind of thrown some backhanded, what would you say? I don't want to say insults, but he's kind of thrown some passive aggressive comments at Supich. You know, he didn't name Supich, but everyone could tell exactly what he was talking about. I think he said something about the McCarrick investigation and how people want to know about the money, follow the money trail. And well, I don't know necessarily about money, but he talked about the McCarrick network, and he said people want to know who was promoted by McCarrick, how they were promoted, and who they are, you know, their identity. And that's you know, I was like, whoa, that's pretty powerful. Mother Miriam is in Tyler, Texas diocese now. Yeah, Tyler, you know, it's becoming, I don't know, I mean, it's a temporary refuge, that's the thing. Because if Pope Francis decides to shut down Strickland, which I think I don't know what you guys think, but I think there's a real possibility he could get shut down. I think there is. Now he's got enough of a following that would make a real impact. People would be very upset. Um, who are they following? Where? Meaning that someone, just because someone is on the journey? I'm not sure. Who are they following and where? Who are they following? I'm not sure what your question is. But yeah, I think that I think that Bishop Strickland's diocese, I mean, it's a temporary refuge, but I don't know. I don't know. Could be at any second he could be shut down, and then what's going to happen? Kind of like a Latin Mass. At any second that could be shut down, and do you have a backup plan? And that's why it's all the more important to network with people. Network with as many people as you can, especially in your region, and then branch out a little bit further to a little bit further radius and help each other out, you know. Spread the word. Try to bring in people to the Latin Mass. I mean, it's all, you know, things are crazy right now, and that's what we need to do. So, anyway, that's it. This has been EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we are the laity, and we will not be silent. And stay tuned for the USCCB coverage this week.